I'm an aggressive communicator, and sometimes that might rub people the wrong way, but I am going to talk to you about whatever needs to be discussed as soon as possible. Welcome to Design Build Sell. I'm RB Gallup, and I'm joined with my co-host,
Alicia Dabe,
Sarah Bennett.
and we are starting a podcast with our perspectives on the luxury home industry, perspective as a builder, an interior designer, and a real estate agent.
Yeah, I'm super excited that this is happening. We've all kind of known each other in different aspects in life, and now we've finally come together. So RB and I have known each other through social media over the past several years. Alicia is one of my best friends for several years as well, and just recently she started working with RB, and so now we've kind of all come together and been able to create this amazing trio.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about that.
We initially got together kind of thinking this would be just a fun way to share our marketing platforms as our companies, but I really think something meaningful could come of it.
We're going to do a couple of episodes, each of us kind of giving a little bit more backstory on each one of us.
Who we are, what
Who
we
we
do.
are, what we do. So today we're going to start with RB. So I'll let you kick it off to tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, a little known fact, we recorded this episode once, and I did not hit record.
Yeah.
So
But it's okay. Now
we
we're
ironed
all,
out the kinks.
loose.
We're ready to go
We're feeling
now.
good.
We're good. My name's RB Gallup. I'm the president of Gallup Design Build. I'm a custom home builder. Our company specializes in residential high-end construction in the Midlands, primarily around Lake Murray. It's our good market. And we offer a turnkey solution for plan design, interior design, and custom home construction.
Tell us about how you started in this line of work.
I grew up in the industry working with my parents through their company at the time. They started what was called New Home Sales Specialist in 1995. They were real estate brokers, and they saw a real need to kind of improve the custom home building process. They saw a need to connect the dots between plan design, interior design, and custom home construction. At the time, people were going out to plan designers or purchasing catalog plans, and then they were finding their custom home builder who didn't really enjoy the process, didn't like communicating with the clients, and really interior design and selections was kind of just an afterthought. So it was a very jumbled experience, and customers weren't happy. Builders weren't really tailoring to customers, and so they saw a niche and decided to create a design build company.
And so what brought you into the family business? Did you know that you were going to be a custom builder? Is this what you've dreamed of since you were a little boy?
Well, so it's interesting. I've had a lot of kind of hobbies and interests and passions, and I always enjoyed carpentry and construction, but I went to school for photojournalism. Mm-hmm. At the time, I wanted to be a photographer and kind of travel the world. Went to school for that, saw that print media was kind of going down the tube, and I really didn't see a big future in photography. Mm-hmm. And I saw that everyone had a camera in their pocket with the iPhone, and that was changing things a lot. So I said, maybe this is not a great career path and what I want to do. So I switched paths to political science and was doing pretty well. I enjoyed it, a lot of writing, a lot of studying, and I was on the dean's list. I liked it, making good grades, but I just wasn't quite happy. So long story short, came home and decided to start working with my parents. At first, it was kind of just to fill a need of what to do with my time. And I quickly realized this is something I enjoyed and I wanted to kind of go after it. So that gave me about 2 years experience extra working for my father and kind of gaining some knowledge from him and really some good experience that otherwise I wouldn't have had if I finished school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So working with your dad, how long did you and your dad work hand in hand for the company together? And what did that look like?
Yeah, so I worked with him, full time from 2010 until, I guess it was 2020 or so.
And tell Tell the people, how young were you when you first started? What was your age when you first started being a builder?
So I became a builder when I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
So
which is not normal.
no.
Yeah.
But, we were talking earlier, we have something that kind of unites us all. And I didn't really even want to talk about it until maybe even this week. But I'm a dropout, and that has given me a stigma. And I always felt like I didn't want to be looked at as someone who their parents gave them everything and he just lucked into life and doesn't really care about his profession. So it was a real chip on my shoulder and kind of drove me to really gain more knowledge, experience, and be aggressive. I was very aggressive at an early age. I was involved in the Home Builders Association. I was a licensed builder. I became a master builder. I don't remember how old I was, but it was shortly after becoming a builder, because I just wanted to gain as much experience and kind of outside credibility as possible. And I think that jumpstart ultimately was really good for me and helped me in life. I tell people a lot of times my friends were graduating school and I was buying my first home.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just so fortunate to look back and be able to do that and to gain 2 years under my dad that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah. So I didn't realize this. So like there's different levels to being a builder. You spoke about being like a master builder. What is that like?
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, so a master builder is a state accreditation through the State Home Builders Association, and you have to have customer references, bank vendor references, and then also continuing education. There's an initial amount of continuing education you have to gain, and then you continue that every year to maintain it. So I looked at that as a way, I'm going to try to be just as good, if not better, than these 50-year-old guys doing
Right.
it.
Yeah, it's like a credential to add.
I just thought you were just like bragging on yourself over there. So,
I'm a master builder.
Master builder.
Yeah.
You gotta say it with that like nice, accent. Master. Yeah.
Master.
So getting back to your dad about working with him and just like having him and how long you worked with him and having him as that influence in your life and in
Yeah.
your career.
Like your main mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was and still is. My dad has been he's been my best friend, role model all through life. I've gained a lot of my hobbies and interests from him. We went backpacking at a young age and camping and skiing and all the outdoor stuff that I love doing. Even at the time, maybe I didn't love it as much, and now I love it so much more. So he's influenced many aspects of my life, but in business, everyone loves my dad. He's just a very kind-hearted, respected businessman. He's got a lot of connections. Everyone knows him. And he's really just set a great example for me. And I was able to learn a lot from many aspects of how to run the business and how to be a builder, a salesman, a dad, all kinds of things.
So obviously you're like kind of in the footsteps of your dad as far as like president of the company, being a builder. Like what makes you different? Like what do you do differently that your dad didn't do?
That's a great question. So one of the things my dad did is he was very hands-off in business and kind of through life, but he didn't set expectations for me. So I didn't have a set list of this is what you do as a project manager. This is how you sell a house. This is how you do your accounting. He kind of just let me figure it out, which was super frustrating at the time.
Yeah.
But I figured out, I think it was with the accounting. We had one client, one time we were in a meeting, and at the end, they had a lot of charges that had gone up on a cost plus house at the time. So it was all stuff they added. It was legit, cost additions. But at that last meeting, at the final walkthrough, and we're going over the accounting, they were a little surprised and, wanted to, there was some aggression there, I guess.
Miscommunication maybe?
Yeah. So at that time I noted, I was like, okay, I'm going to be more proactive with accounting. And I really started doing what I call projections at that time. So we were cost plus. I would project cost to the homeowner. Here's where you are on selections. Here's where the framing is. Here's where we are to date and what's the expected. And I would update that as they made selections. The new things were closed out and finished. And it really stopped that discussion, you know.
Oh, it's a game changer. They
Yeah.
can see what's going on as the project's happening.
Yeah, and I'd rather be upfront with them at every milestone and kind of proactively communicate. I'm an aggressive communicator, and sometimes that might rub people the wrong way, but I am going to talk to you about whatever needs to be discussed as soon as possible.
I think in our industry and really any business owner, entrepreneur, any part of life, pretty much anything you're doing in the world, communication is going to be the biggest part. And I tell my team, I tell other agents that don't even work with me, builders, everyone that I ever come in contact with, that communication is the most important thing that people can take. They love good news. They can also take bad news. But if you try to hold off on giving them the bad news, it's not going to help anything.
Just making it worse.
You're just making it worse. I think sometimes people think, oh, well, I can fix it
Yeah.
before I have to have that conversation. That never, it never
No,
works out
people
that way.
appreciate just
Yeah.
being kept in the loop. Doesn't matter what
Absolutely.
it
So-
is.
Yeah, you've got
It's
to.
important.
I think you've got to rip the Band-Aid off,
Absolutely.
you know, and just get it over with.
Yeah.
And I especially think in our industries, like we are in the luxury line. So like,
People expect,
well, they're spending a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? And that adds like an emotional sense to things and can, heighten things. So I think building a custom home or hiring a designer or a real estate agent is a cost to them. So having that conversation up front can alleviate any awkwardness.
absolutely.
Yeah, I look at it, also like if you're going to deliver some bad news and it's just factual, if you're doing your job and you're being honest and you're being upright with what's got to be discussed,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if you try to be nice and let things go and try to figure it out, it can actually come across more negative in that you look like you're hiding
misleading.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Proactive solutions.
Yeah. I love it. Getting back to your dad, because I know he's been such a huge part of your story, is there any one maybe memory or one piece of advice that your dad has given you that stands out amongst everything else?
So it's interesting. He was a real estate broker first
Yeah.
before he was a custom home builder.
Which we just found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Yesterday.
like,
Literally yesterday.
Gallup, president of the
At the
Realtors
Realtors
Association.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's wild.
Again, he knows everyone.
He's tied
done
in.
everything.
Yeah.
He has a heavy sales background, and he's a good salesman in the sense that he's not one that will annoy you or
Yeah.
try to oversell you. And I remember being in one meeting once when I was first starting to do the proposals and then the sales part of that, and we were going through the whole proposal and went through all the line items, talked about it, and I think we signed the contract, everything was done. And I said, well, Dad, how do you think, how did that go? And he goes, well, you talked a lot and it was really loud. He's like, you're just really loud. And I was like, okay.
Noted.
And as more I learn is you want to say less
Yeah.
in sales situations, even if you're not, sales has somewhat of a negative connotation in business. It's like, oh, I'm trying to push something over on you.
Yeah.
But just, listening to the homeowner and empathizing with them, reacting to what they're looking for is way more important than
Yeah.
talking
Listen
about
to
how,
their questions, be informative, and
Yeah.
make them feel comfortable and confident.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was a great piece of advice. Still working on it. My wife will tell you that. I like to talk.
Well, let's keep the time
Yeah,
watch.
these
here.
are going to be 3-hour segments for each one because we all like to talk.
Just my
so.
shows.
So, what would you say is like your favorite thing about being a builder or president of a company in your profession?
I really enjoy growing the business.
Yeah.
And I think for the first time, since this year, I really feel like I'm an entrepreneur first and then a builder second.
Totally.
And growing up, I always had a passion for building. I enjoyed woodworking. And when I was a kid, I watched This Old House. You know, most kids were watching cartoons. Also watched Walker, Texas Ranger, and Jag.
Yeah.
And I'm like a 6-year-old. Like, why am I watching Jag?
Yeah.
Anyway,
You're special.
My mom loved that show. She loved it.
I've been 40 since I was 5 years old.
You're like Benjamin Button. Like,
Yeah, it's not good.
I love that.
Yeah. So, what were we talking about?
Like what you love about your profession.
okay.
Yeah, what do you love about your profession? We know you love Jag. Okay, what do you love
I have
about
a
work?
little bit of ADD too. I enjoy building the business and really growing the team and the system. I want to create a business that exists because we have a great team and a great system. I don't want it to exist because RB Gallup is the shit.
Right.
You know, that is the worst thing. It makes me cringe a little bit, and it's a good thing. But when homeowners are like, "Oh, RB was the best," blah blah, I'm like, "But you mean the team was the best?"
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing less of that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And the team has really grown a lot, and I really am pleased with the way we're heading.
And so that takes me into my next question, which is, you know, now it's Gallup, but before that, your dad was partnered with somebody else. So how has that changed, and what do you see the vision for your company?
Yeah. So, and long history of the company is it's changed names a couple times. In 2010, no, not 2010, 2013 it is. It changed from Gallup and Gallup to Gallup and Lafitte. At that time, we added Robert Lafitte as a business partner and myself. So a lot of people didn't know that, but we were all 3 business partners.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah. So we were 3 business partners and decided in 2020, I think it was, we had kicked the can down the road a little bit about my dad's retirement. He's a workaholic. He loves work. He's good at it, but he really just enjoyed it. So he kind of taught me a little bit in retrospect to not make your life about work. And nothing negative against him, because I wouldn't be in this position if he didn't work hard and do what he did. But I want to make sure that I can try to live a more balanced life if possible, and have other things that bring me enjoyment, like my family and
Well, sometimes it's hard when your like passion like consumes you because it's like who you are. It gives you your purpose, right? So like people just dive into it, and then the next thing they know, they've just been working their life away and not, you know, finding that balance that we're all searching for.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'd say my dad was supposed to retire a couple years before he did, and he just delayed it, and it was fine. He was working in the business, designing houses for us, filling a need, and we were all hunky-dory, so it was great. But in 2020, he got sick and spent a lot of time in the hospital, and came to the point where we weren't able to design those plans, and we were having a real crunch. So we had to decide to go ahead and move forward and buy him out and proceed with his retirement. And that was certainly a tough way to do it. And I would
Kind of like a forced way and not saying like, I'm ready.
No, it's just, it's a bummer because he loves doing what he does.
Yeah.
So, and then kind of the second part of that is I had a business partner, Robert Lafitte, after that. We were Gallup and Lafitte at the time. And I began an EOS journey for the business where I wanted to go down this path.
Say, what is EOS?
Yeah, EOS is a tool for entrepreneurs. It's Entrepreneurial Operating System. And it's a set of tools for business growth and planning and accountability. And it's all about how to systemize the business, set goals, remain accountable.
And I'm here to say that we actually do those things. Like every Monday, we have our team meetings and we have to go through our scorecards and our rocks, which are goals. And like RB stays on top of it. It's not just saying it like, oh, this sounds like something good I would like to implement with my company. He's like, no, this is happening.
He does it. Yeah.
Give me your answers.
Yeah, it'd probably drive people crazy sometimes. But it's a level 10 meeting. We have certain meeting pulses, and it's getting the business into a rhythm where they're tracking goals and completing them and really advancing. Because if you're trying to set goals at the beginning of the year and then you go out and do it, at the end of the year, you're going to be like, what happened?
Yeah. How do we get from Gallup on the feet to just Gallup now?
So part of that EOS journey was you start with right people in the right seats. And Robert Lafitte is a great person, an exceptional builder, super nice guy. But we had very different visions on where we want the company to go. And it wasn't that we were so different that we were butting heads and arguing about it. I just felt like I was kind of dragging him along on what I wanted this company to be. And ultimately, I think that was making us both not align and not happy with the process. We sat down, had a conversation, and ultimately decided that it would be okay for me to buy his shares out. And we still have a good relationship, and I hope we always stay in touch because he's an awesome person. And it was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we had a conversation with another business owner just yesterday. She had to make a very difficult decision for her business, but she was at such peace with it after making it. So, I feel like sometimes, you have to make those hard decisions, but if you can, rest your head at night, it's the right decision.
And it kind of seemed like an organic timeline too. Like, I got hired on 90 plus days ago, and I felt like you had a vision of how many team members you wanted and what their roles would be. And it just kind of like is morphing into a little bit of a different brand.
I just want to highlight the team because that's been the key is right people, right seat, and getting the system there. And let's take you through the process. So you come through the door as a client, you're going to meet with me. If you don't like me, I'm sorry. I'm the first step.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the brand.
so I do sales and kind of head up the pre-construction process, everything from design through contract. So I'll meet with you. I also do the marketing, so that's all kind of connected. And then from there, we go to plan design. We have 2 plan designers on staff and do a great job working efficiently through point A to B. And then at the end, you leave with a set of plans. We price it out. That goes to our estimator, purchaser, Rob Huber. He's been a recent hire, and usually, or in the past, I had been the one that had estimated all the projects, put together all the contract packages, and really been accountable for the numbers. And I found a need, as we were growing the team and managing actually the business and all the different players, that I had to find someone to help fill that role and do it better than I was doing.
Rob's a huge asset. He's so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like anytime we ask him a question, like off the rip, he's like, yeah, it'd be like this.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Rob has a lot of knowledge, and not only in estimating and purchasing, he knows 3 plan design programs.
Yeah.
I've seen him use 3 different programs. He's a problem solver.
Yeah.
he's a good dude.
So we go there, then we put it to contract. You go to contract. Vicki starts getting involved. Vicki is our director of operations. She handles all of our administration, our accounting, all of the accounts payable, receivable, builder trend, gets people set up with our project management software, and then does the little kind of intangible items as well. She orders us all the swag. I don't have to think about if the new team members have shirts now.
Yeah.
She purchased Brew a little Gallup Design Build cup the other day and surprised me with it, like a little thermos.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, so she's just awesome. She's kind of like, she does a lot, and I don't want to, I'm not saying this in like downgrading what she does, but she's definitely kind of like the team mom too.
Yeah.
She keeps
for
everyone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
keeps everyone happy. So Vicki really is the glue that helps keep it organized and efficient. All right, so then we go to contract. Alicia gets involved, starts doing interior design, and that term encompasses the exterior selections as well. So it's all the selections on the house and bringing the look of the house together and spending that time with the client. She's full-time, and before we were dealing with interior designers that were 1099, and we would assign a couple to different projects, and we were just not getting the level of commitment we were looking for. So Alicia's really stepped in and helped with that role, and she's doing a great job.
Thank you.
First thing, in the first 90 days, we remodeled this office.
I know.
And she did all the selections to it, and we did it in like 40 days.
Yeah, it was wild.
I remember I came for your grand opening, and it was
Whole new world.
And it was, yeah, I was like, didn't he just start this like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Like, wow.
Yeah, it happened. It was funny because it was like my first time meeting all of our vendors that we primarily work with. And I'm like, hey, I work with Gallup Design Build, interior designer. We need this in like a week. And they were just like, huh? But they made it happen.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I set these end goal, like I'll put a goal, we're going to get you that by Friday.
Yeah.
We're going to
happens.
get it
It'll
to you
happen.
by Friday.
Yeah, I think it's a great personality trait that you have
It's frustrating.
as a leader.
Well,
great.
I'm glad you feel that way, but it is infuriating to myself sometimes. But we ended up with a great product, and so we're very happy to have Alicia here and kind of continue that chain. The next step is project management. We've got a VP of construction, David Moore. He's had a tremendous amount of experience working with different home building companies and in different levels of custom building. And now he is stepping in the role of the VP of construction, and he's managing the 4 project managers we have.
Yeah.
And he's really owning our system. We have checklists on every, like, okay, we're at the rough end stage. Here's the plumbing rough end checklist. Let's make sure we're answering all these questions.
Yeah.
Frame check. Here's the frame end list. And that was a huge step of systemizing the custom home building business. It is extremely hard to scale.
Yeah.
Because it relies on the personality of the people in the field. Well, how do you change that? You put a system in its place and make sure every house is leaving with the level of quality it should have.
Right.
So he's been a huge asset.
Yeah.
We've got 4 project managers under him. It's Herbert, Jonathan, Whitney, and Aaron at the moment. And they're a stellar team and constantly improving.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just really fortunate to have put together a good team and kind of break that company down from, it used to be, 3 guys
Yeah.
and an interior designer that was hired 1099 to now we have a professional dedicated to their part of that process.
And that's so smart too. I mean, just as a fellow business owner and knowing that you can do everything, but you can't do everything well. And it's the smart thing you do, like you said, about putting a team in and having those people in place to help you so that you can be the best and you can focus on what you do the best. They focus on what they do the best. I think that's the smartest thing you can do to continue to grow your business and it continue to be successful for years and years.
For sure. And I think having the team kind of sets us, I was going to say you apart, but I'm on your team, sets us apart because I don't know many custom home builders that do have a team that has everything that a client needs from start to finish. So they're, like you said in the beginning with your parents, how they created this is because, I don't know, what is it about builders or contractors that don't love to communicate? I feel like you're not one of them. I feel like you're very personable.
It is a rarity.
When I used to work in Florida, it's just like people can't get a hold of them. They don't want to answer the phone. So I think having a team that has everything, just client satisfaction and just comfort and confidence of their project is like through the roof.
Yeah.
I think it's a choice, one way or the other. You can't tiptoe into it. If you're going to be a typical one-man custom home builder, that person takes on as many clients as they can handle, and they reach that point, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't do anymore."
Right.
And they're just stressed out. They're running around answering the phone all day. Having a team, my phone rings a lot less, and I'm very thankful for that. Everyone's taken a huge burden off of me and really helped us scale it. Where if you're that one man just stuck in the business grinding constantly, I think it's also kind of dangerous because if you're saying no to clients that are calling and they're good contracts, let's say they're a good contract, and you're saying, I can't take it on right now. Well, look at the current market. You don't know when that pipeline is going to potentially slow down.
Right.
And that's kind of the reason to double down on the team and try to set ourselves apart right now is at some point a slowdown's coming.
Yeah.
And I want people to look at us and go, that is why they are the best, and we want to go with them because they have their team in place, they have a system, and they're accountable. And it's a clear choice. We're not like the others.
Right. Yeah.
So what would you say is right now the most difficult part about your job, the most frustrating thing with your
In construction.
in construction? Yeah,
Just
yeah.
throw that word out there. People
Yeah.
are like, well, let me guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, construction has been a little frustrating since the C word, since COVID, you know?
yeah,
The new C word.
Yeah. COVID times has led us into this world where stuff is not available, and you kind of end up with these new problems that just seem to pop up, and you don't know they're there until it's past the point of being a problem.
Right.
So, a little brief history on that is 2020, at first, windows and doors were hard to get. Okay, so we adapted to that and started ordering them early. Then interior doors. Out of the blue, we were ordering them, and they just said, okay, because of these factories that they're made in, everyone's getting COVID in them. Masonite and Geldwin were all backed up. So they would go from a 2-week lead time, which we already weren't that efficient on ordering them. So it amplified kind of something that we could have done better on. It went from 2 to like 8 weeks. And you can't do trim until you have interior doors.
Right.
And that means that is a critical path line item in the home building process. So the house is stopping for 8 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it is. So we got ahead of that and started ordering doors at framing. We would measure them, order them. Okay, problem solved. Then the lumber shot way up, and
Yeah.
I had to do a year of tough conversations.
yeah.
It was probably about 10 or so homes in a row that were really bad, and they were $30,000 to $48,000 over budget in framing
I
material.
mean,
That's
you know
insane.
firsthand.
Yeah.
You just built a house.
Yeah.
You hit that struggle.
We had that struggle too. Yeah,
So to kind of go back again to my mentality on communication is I got in front of the clients per our contract, went through and said, hey, this is the new projected framing. Do you want to continue with the house?
Kind of set those expectations.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's not a fun conversation to have. I know a lot of people have had to have
But
it.
it's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So we did that, recouped all the money, but I felt a lot of ownership for that, and I'll tell you, it was stressful and gave me a lot of gray hairs. So we went through and got over that, and then cabinets has been the new one where
Yeah.
we've had closings delayed, on average, I would say 2 months,
Yeah.
and we found a way around that. But everything in construction is kind of slow, so it's a process. It's a 9 to maybe 12 month at the highest build process. So when you're going through that process and you find a hitch in your system, you can change that, but it's not going to show through until 6 months or a year.
Right.
Right.
So it's extremely frustrating. I feel like I'm a good problem solver, but I'm tired of doing it.
Well, especially when it's something that's totally out of your control. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't help it that you can't literally go to the cabinet people and demand your cabinets right there on the spot. I mean, I know you'd love to. I know you've
I've done
tried.
that. I've done everything you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that's super frustrating.
It is frustrating because I try not to be one that, uses excuses. Well, everyone's having these problems, all
Yeah.
this, So not being able to fix a problem is definitely the thing I like least about building
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to that. I know how to solve problems, and not being able to do it really frustrates me.
Yeah.
Putting a team in place, taking a little bit off your plate, making sure things are running smoothly, obviously opens up a little more time for you personally, right?
I enjoy hanging out with my family and spending a lot of time with them. I have a young son. He's 13. His name's Brew.
13 months.
13 months, yeah, jeez. He's not 13. He'll be 13 before I know it, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Blank. Yeah.
So Brew is short for Richard Brewster Gallup III. I'm a junior, so that's kind of throwing it back to my dad and really honoring him. And Brew is short for Brewster. He's just a chunk and just awesome. We lucked out.
So cute.
Oh my gosh, he's adorable.
But he's been sleeping since like 10, I think it was 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Sleeping
Yeah.
through the night.
Yeah.
And my wife just did an awesome job. And
Yeah.
she's such a type A organized individual that doesn't surprise me, but she read Mom's on Call.
Right.
Yeah, we did Baby Wives.
Oh, yeah.
Same. Yeah.
But she did Mom's on Call to the T,
Yeah.
to the schedule. And it was kind of frustrating, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yep.
It works. So my wife is awesome. I'm very blessed to have found her. We've been married since 2017. And before that, I met her at a University of Florida USC game. I'm a Gamecock fan, and she's a Florida graduate. I met her in her senior year. We were parking at her house. It's pretty cool. I went down there with some friends, and all the houses near the stadium sell parking. So she was selling parking, parked there, and it turns out that the people I was with knew her, but I had no idea. I just thought this girl was very nice, inviting us into her house, like offering appetizers and beer. And
Great. Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome to find out that they know each other.
Yeah.
So met her then, and she came up to USC. It was already her plan to go to USC Law. She graduated USC Law, and we got married shortly after.
Yeah.
So she's a real equal and a partner, and strong, smart, kind of irritating in that regard sometimes too, because she and I, like, we want to go after our goals.
Yeah,
and
Of course.
And
I too am married to a Type A attorney, so I understand.
You guys definitely have that in common.
Yeah.
yeah, she's awesome and she's beautiful and
Absolutely.
very fortunate to have
Yes.
a good family. And I love, and hopefully I get to do a lot of this with Brew. I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
Love mountain biking, running. Those are my two biggest hobbies. I've had a lot of hobbies, a lot of interests, go back and forth. But those are the two that have really stuck and are something I can get out and do on a daily basis.
Yeah. It's awesome.
He came to work one day just covered in Band-Aids.
God.
Little road rash
I was gonna say,
crash.
is that where we're going to end it? Just ended up with Band-Aids?
So when the new bike was fast.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you get a new bike and it can do more than the old bike, and then you get confident and then you get cocky.
There you go. And then you end up with Band-Aids all
Yeah.
over yourself.
Expensive, dangerous hobby.
It's fun though, but it's funny. Like, I feel like, being an old soul,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would have mountain biked as a young kid and
Right.
done jumps. I would have probably been like, oh, that's too extreme. And now I'm like living my childhood out. So I don't know what that's about.
Well, it makes sense. You started your career so young, so
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
throwing a little bit back in there.
Well, I truly find it fascinating. Someone who has started in this industry at a younger age compared to most. You took what your parents had started, probably a vision that they had no idea would blow up to what it was, and now you're taking it to that next level. I find that fascinating. I find it incredibly inspiring
Same.
for anyone wanting
Yeah.
to build their own business. So I'm super excited to see what the future holds for you.
Yeah. I
Well,
feel like
thanks.
you're ahead of the game. I tell them that all the time.
Yeah.
But I really do.
Absolutely. You've definitely is it shaken, shooken, shook? You shook the market?
Shooking it up. I don't know.
think shook
I
or
just say
shook it
things
up.
and then
You
you say
have-
them quickly
Yeah,
and
yeah.
with authority.
Yes, there you go. You're
Most
shooking
of the
it up.
time people don't.
No, you have definitely, I think people definitely have noticed the difference that you have set in this market compared to other builders. Nothing wrong with the other builders who aren't as prevalent on social media and big in communication, but you've definitely set a new standard in our current market. There are not a lot of builders like you. And I mean that in the very best possible way.
I appreciate that. I think it's a choice to try to work on the business and be a businessman,
Yeah.
not just a builder stuck in the business and in the grind of it all and not really looking forward to growth or
Yeah.
anything like that. So been incredibly fortunate. I'm just trying to do the most I can with the opportunities
Yeah.
that I've got.
Love it.